Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bird's Eye View. I'm your host, the one and only Eric McCall, because my last name is McCall. For those who do not know, that's why they call me Bird. I'm really hoping, y'all, that I've said that my nickname is Bird because of my last name for, I think, all episodes. So I'm hoping that when people see me on the streets, they know it's my last name and no other reason why. But anyways, y'all, it's episode 8, which means it's the last episode, and I'm happy, I'm sad, I have mixed emotions. But before I get too emotional about things, we got to get down to the show. And for everyone who is listening in for the first time, everyone who's listened to the past 7 episodes or listened to a few, the reason why I started this podcast is because everywhere I go, everyone's asking me, what's overseas basketball like? What's the food like? What's the basketball like? What's the coaching like? The language barriers. So I wanted to make a podcast to help educate everyone what the true overseas basketball experience is like. And within each episode, we focus on a different topic. So let's see, y'all. I'm gonna try to go back all 7 episodes back. So episode 1, we talked about basketball, Sydney Weiss. Episode 2, we talked about relationships with Simon and Jess Gorey. Episode 3 was motherhood with my sister, Dewana Bonner. Episode 4 was Faith with Nia Coffee featuring Sydney Weiss. Episode 5 was Past vs. Present with Val Whiting. Episode 6 was Food with Stephanie Mavunga. And episode 7 was Coaching with Pokey Chapman. And today is episode 8, the last episode. And we got a little bit surprised for you, y'all, because today we have a crossover. I'm going to be the one getting interviewed by the one and only Khristina Williams, who is the CEO, the inventor, the head honcho of Girls Talk Sports TV. And so I thought it'd be really cool to do like a crossover where someone is interviewing me. I'm behind the guest mic and I'm getting the questions. And essentially we're going to be talking about what my first 24 hours has been like overseas. I just got here a couple of days, y'all, and I thought it'd be super cool for everyone to get to experience what I get to go through, since I'm always the one asking the questions. So for those who don't know, I've been playing in Hungary for 4 years straight, and all I know is Hungary. And this is my first year in Turkey. So thought it'd be super cool for me to be able to get interviewed. So first, I'm going to bring in Khristina. Khristina, welcome. Thank you for doing this. I think this is super cool. Thank you.
Bird, what's up? Thank you for having me on your show. Feel so honored to be a part of the last episode of the first season of Bird's Eye View and
yes, sir.
the crossover episode with Kickin It with Khristina, my podcast. Right. So for all of my viewers who are watching, today we have a crossover with Erica McCall, a 5th-year player on the Washington Mystics, WNBA. Super excited to have Erica on the show to talk about some of her overseas life. And so, yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it. I'm excited. Okay. So usually in the podcast, I do the introductions. And so this is a little different for me. So I think it would be cool for us to do it like a little icebreaker game, because that's what I usually do with my guests. Okay. We usually do a little icebreaker game. So matter of fact, let me go back into the interview chair. Let's do a little icebreaker game with you, if you do not mind.
Ooh, I don't mind.
It's a crossover, so we're gonna be crossing back and forth. We're gonna be crossing from interviewee to interviewer. Okay.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay. These are just gonna be rapid fire questions. You're my friend. I've known Khristina since essentially I've been in the league. I remember when you interviewed me back like my rookie or sophomore year in New York. So I'm excited to get to know what your answers are. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather.
Ooh.
Although I live in New York and we get cold weather. I like the hot weather, y'all.
Okay. West Coast or East Coast?
Hey, I'm gonna put myself in the Midwest.
y'all, let me tell you about this girl. She loves some Indiana. Now, I played in Indiana for 3 years, and I love Indiana too. It's a really cool place. But I ain't never met anyone that's not from Indiana who loves Indiana as much as this girl. She is a Midwest queen.
Bird, I'm from New York. It's a fast-paced city. So I just like being in the Midwest because you can get the best of both worlds.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Say less. Okay. Hip hop or R&B?
R&B.
Okay. Give me an artist. Which one of
I
your top
listen
artists?
to Summer Walker's Still Over
I'm
It.
about to say.
Back to
She's
back.
still.
I'm in that back to back.
She says
That's
she's
what I'm
still over it, y'all.
still over it.
I haven't listened to the album all the way through. However, Twitter has been hyping it up, so I think I need to give it a fair chance. I love a lot of her music, so I'm with you on R&B. Hip hop, it's growing more like the new school. Gosh, I feel old saying that, new school hip hop. It's growing on me, but R&B,
Listen, I
that is
love
where it's at.
Dirk. That's my favorite rapper right now. Dirk, if you ever look at this.
Hey, shout out to Dirk because he came to a Mystics game and that was super cool to have, this huge rapper coming in and support the WNBA. So
I
shout out
tell
to
you,
Dirk.
my heart broke when I saw that picture of him and Josh. And I was like, yo, nobody told me Lil Durk was, that is my favorite rapper.
Yeah, he was in the building. I was like, is that Dirk? Because I didn't really, I just didn't know that he would be there. And so that was super cool experience.
That's dope.
Okay. Next question. Italian or Mexican?
I'm gonna have to go with Mexican. I live in a very much Latino neighborhood here in New York, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, Mexican food, and I like to say
Right
that Mexican food. Yeah, spicy. That Mexican food in California is the best. My best friend Karen says that Tex-Mex is the best. And I'm like, right, people don't even know what Tex-Mex is. California Mexican food is A1.
Right.
Okay. This one's gonna be tough. Some of my fans might well, we'll see.
Oh, God,
Okay.
I don't want them coming for me.
It's not anything bad at all. But let's see. Let's do this. WNBA or overseas?
I like covering the WNBA.
Okay.
Stateside all the way.
I had a feeling that you were going to say that. So that brings us into the transition because we're going to allow you to really get to know overseas basketball because maybe when someone interviews you, you're going to be like, I love the WNBA, but overseas ball is pretty dope. So, that brings us into me going to flip it back over and you're going to be the interviewer.
Cross it over again.
I'm going to be chilling. Thank you for the little icebreaker. I just like to give my guests a little something fun before we get started. All right.
So now it's my turn to interview Erica, aka Bird. So let's start from the beginning. So you're a fifth-year player in the WNBA with the Washington Mystics. Talk about that journey coming into the WNBA and what it's been like for you so far.
Man, it's been a beautiful journey. I've always dreamed about playing in the WNBA because my sister Dewana Bonner has played in it. Since I was like 14 years old. So I really got to see her get drafted, her go through the whole WNBA experience, her win a championship. And so like that was for me, I was like, man, I got to be a part of this. And so when I got to the league, it was a dream come true. It's been a lot of ups and downs, 5 years. Blessed to say that I made it thus far. A lot of people can't say that. And so, like I said, a lot of ups and downs, but the Mystics this past year has been a beautiful experience for me. I played some of my best basketball throughout my career or with the Mystics this year. So, hey, still a lot more basketball to come and I'm super excited for it.
You said that it's been a challenge to get to this point, and this season has been your best season in your career with the Washington Mystics. How have you been able to overcome some of those challenges? I mean, I know within even the last year in the bubble, you played for several different teams after being waived by Indiana. And so now you're in a new city, new team, and you're thriving. But how were you able to get past some of those challenges?
Ooh, for me, I struggled a lot, especially my third year in Indiana with performance anxiety. And it was like, anytime I went to the game, I tensed up, missed layups that I normally make, shots I normally make. I was just so nervous to get in the game because I wanted to do so well. Mm-hmm. I had such high expectations of myself. So I decided to seek out a sports psychologist to really help me be able to slow down the game, for me to be able to calm down. And it didn't, I can't say that it was like an immediate effect. I can say that a lot of what I learned from her has been a long-term effect for me. and really just learning to stay calm as soon as I get in the game, to enjoy the game. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I learned, is just enjoy the game. And hey, if I fail, I fail. I've done what I can do in this league, and every time I go out there, it's just to have fun. And so that's what I've learned, and that's what I incorporated into my next 2 seasons when I played for Minnesota and Washington. And so, yeah, therapy, y'all. Therapy for all.
That's great. And so how have you been adjusting to Washington, being in that new city with your new teammates?
It was a tough adjustment. One, because this is my first year that I ever came straight from overseas to the WNBA city that I was playing. And usually, like, I get one day, and that one day is everything to me. It gives me a chance to say hi to my fam,
Right.
eat my favorite Mexican food, and then hurry up and like pack. And it's not even packing, it's literally transferring things that I've need for the WNBA and things that I've used overseas into different suitcases, and just leaving those suitcases, like 3 suitcases that I don't need at home, and bringing like another 3 overseas. So this is my first time where I brought everything over. And so that alone was tough to do. And so, I really didn't have time for my mindset to just like, okay, I'm coming from overseas and I'm going to, it was like, boom, quick, got to get into it. But I think that kind of helped me. I think it allowed me to stay in like the true basketball mindset, and just keep going. And so the beginning of the season really allowed me to adjust easily to a new system, to a new coach, to a new style of basketball. And it was super fun. Shout out to my teammates. They made it one of my most fun seasons out there.
Okay, so you mentioned something that was very interesting, which brings me into the overseas life. You mentioned that you usually get only one day when you return to the United States from playing overseas, and then you have to report to training camp. Now, we know in the NBA it's completely different. Guys get a couple of months off and then they go into training camp. How is that transition, I guess, how does that transition work for you? Is that like a negative thing, a positive thing? Just getting one day before adjusting into going back into training camp after playing 6-7 months overseas, and then you get one day of rest and then get back to it. There's like no in between time to like recover.
Mm-hmm. What's an off day? What's the off season for us? As female basketball players don't get those often. So for me, short term, I would say, it doesn't bother me much. But long term, as I played 5 years in a league, I can say it's definitely put a toll on my body. And this past season, although it was my most successful season, I've experienced the most injuries. I had a right knee scope. I had a torn meniscus on my right knee. I had that done in the middle of the season, so I sat out about 2 months of the season. Luckily, we had that national team break, the Olympic break, so that helped a lot. And then afterwards, I actually hurt my left knee, my opposite knee. And so it's been tough mentally, being able to know like, man, my body can't recover the way that it used to. And it sucks. It sucks as a female athlete. This is what I have to do, to make my money, to make my income. But I know it's all part of the job. I just got to keep pushing, keep going, rehab my body, and find new ways to adapt, new ways to change my diet, new ways to rehab, new ways to, figure out how my body moves. And so it's all about adapting in this league.
Right. And so speaking of adapting, you are now playing overseas in Turkey after spending your first 4 seasons overseas in Hungary. So tell us about this new city and what went into the decision to play in Turkey this season.
Well, Hungary is my home. Always be my home. I always go back and see, I have a Hungarian mom and pop, but they text me like twice a week. And so it will always be my home. But I just felt like it was time for me to transition to something new. Everyone who's met me, like, Erica, it's time. You played in Hungary for a long time. And so the opportunity finally presented itself when Beşiktaş in Turkey offered me. And, I talked to my agent about it, and, he ultimately said, this is a good, position for me to be in. And so I said, hey, let's do it. Kind of just, jumped on a leap of faith, just knowing that God's going to have me covered. It's going to be something new, but I think it'll be best for my career, my basketball, my mindset, for me to be able to experience something new.
The Washington Mystics did not make the postseason this past year. So did you have a little bit more time to get ready for your overseas? Because usually what happens is WNBA players, as soon as the season's over, they have to report immediately to their overseas team. So did you have a little gap in between the time where you could report to your team?
So the only reason I had a nice break was because I needed to rehab my body, rehab my knees. So I had like about a month to be able to go home. Actually, 6 weeks, 2 weeks in Washington, a month at home for me to be able to go rehab, get my body right, be able to really just focus in on my knees and nothing else. And so that was difficult for me to do, to be able to just do that. But I'm always grateful for the time to be at home. I mean, man, it's a blessing. It's hard to leave when you're home for that long, but it was so much needed for my heart, for my spirit, and for my body.
Let's dive into your first 24 hours in Turkey. When you got off the plane, what was going through your head? What was that experience like landing in Turkey?
So first, I played in Turkey before, so I knew it was going to be a really big city. I was a bit overwhelmed by, as I'm not a fan of New York. I'm sorry, you're from New York. It's too hustle, too bustle for me, too much going on. And I knew this city was going to be similar to New York. It's going to be very fast moving. I'm from Bakersfield, California, y'all. We are suburban. We are slow. We are, that's why I enjoyed Hungary. And so when I got to the airport, already the airport was freaking huge. I had to walk like a mile to get to baggage claim. And so I was like, yeah, this is going to be very different for me. But I always get nervous because I knew I was going to have to meet someone new for the team. I'm like, okay, what's this person going to be like? Is he going to speak good English? What's this experience going to be like? I'm like, am I going to go to my apartment? Where am I going to go? What am I going to eat? Just a lot running through my mind. I was kind of nervous, but I was actually really excited. Like as I got closer to touching down, I was super hyped.
So you talked about just being a little bit nervous because, you've been in Turkey before, but now it's a new team, new teammates. There's obviously sometimes a language barrier from playing overseas. So what happened when you got to play? Like, what happened? You get off the
okay.
You report to your team, or you went to your, like, what did you do? Walk me through that day.
Okay. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I get off the plane and I meet up with my guy. His name's Vedat. He's a team manager and he is driving. I don't know where I was going. I usually, when I go from overseas to Hungary, they just drive me to my apartment. I get settled in. I'm like, cool, I can unpack, I can relax, figure out what I'm going to do. They grab me something to eat. So he's like, okay, we're going to drive you to the hotel. I'm like, the hotel? What was I staying in a hotel for? But I just went with the flow. I'm like, okay, it's going to be, I'm going to be in a nice, clean place. I know that for sure. So we're driving to the hotel. First of all, I've first learned, my agent told me don't drive in Turkey. I don't have a car in Turkey. He's like, they're crazy drivers. And I experienced that. Okay. It was like 10 p.m. and there was traffic like crazy. And it seemed like people don't drive in lanes. They create their own lanes. Everyone's honking at each other, much of like New York.
Okay. Or everyone's cutting each other off. I mean, you guys have the worst traffic in Cali.
We have uniform traffic. New York is chaotic. Okay, at least we all keep in straight lines. So the traffic was it took like 45 minutes to get from the airport to the hotel. We finally get settled in the hotel and we have dinner, and I'm asking questions really on the whole drive. I'm asking questions about the team, my teammates, the coaches, just trying to get a feel for what I'm about to experience, because this is a whole new journey for me. I'm trying to ask how to say hi, bye, thank you, just simple things that can help me get past, these first 24 hours. Granted, I only know how to say hi, which is merhaba. And so merhaba, yes, I'm learning that. So, the first night was easy. I got to my hotel, took a shower and went to sleep. That was easy. But when I woke up, first he told me that I was going to have a blood test. So he's like, don't eat or drink anything after midnight. Okay, it's cool. However, I'm coming from a 13-hour flight from California. I'm going to be thirsty. Okay, I was parched, and the appointment was at 9. I had to wait 9 hours for me to be able to drink water. So I get there and they're ready to take blood. First, they asked me, can I do a urine test? I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little explicit, but how do you expect me to produce something when I haven't drank anything for 9 hours? Make it make sense. I was like, I could try. you know me, I'm always clutch, so I made it work. And then so now this is the crazy part. When they take my blood, usually when you take the blood, they give you about, 3 little vials. They put the needle in and they, continuously take it out. I kid you not, she took 20 vials of blood from me.
What?
I'm not for sure what all these vials are for, if they're testing for every vitamin in my body. But she kept asking me, like, are you getting lightheaded? I'm like, are you getting lightheaded? I'm like, yeah, I should be.
Right. You're
taking like everyone like kept looking like, how many more does she have? She just kept pulling them out. Some lady walked over to her, gave her some more. So might be some vampires out here in Turkey. So that was wild. So of course, because of my knee situation, they have to check out my knees. So they're like, okay, we're gonna get some MRIs on your body. So I was like, all right, cool. And so I did 2 hours of MRI imaging, 2 hours. This is my longest I've ever done.
I've not
usually MRIs.
Between that time.
So I did eat. I had breakfast before, and it was not much of a breakfast. It was like a egg, one hard-boiled egg, assorted cheeses, and what do they call it? Kind of like a cheese board, whatever it's called,
Okay.
like you do that, and some bread. And I sent a picture to my mom, and she said it looked like I was on Squid Games.
Oh, the egg.
They only got one egg. They only got one egg for everything that they did. So my mom was like, Squid Game. So okay, that was my breakfast. So I had a very light breakfast, and then I had to go in for 2 hours of MRI imaging. First, they did my hip. For what reason? I do not know. I don't have any hip issues, but they wanted to get MRI imaging on my hip.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, it's gonna be about an hour and a half. I'm like, an hour and a half, like, in MRIs, you don't have your phone, you don't have any, literally it's just you and your thoughts looking up at the sky.
Yeah.
So in order for me to be able to keep track of like how long things were going, they played music in the headphones and I would count the songs.
Okay, that song
That's how I knew.
That song was 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I was like, okay, that's about 8 songs. And after 8 songs, it was like every 8 song they would stop it and then they would do a new MRI. So by the third set of songs, they transferred me into another one. The third set of songs was terrible because it was like classical pop music. They put like Adele and Justin Bieber, but to like classical music, and it was like it was terrible. And so it wasn't the vibe. At the first set of music was pop music, but it was like, the pop music that I know, the end stuff. And this one was not it. And my butt was getting numb. My hands were turning, they were going to sleep. And I thought I was going crazy. I thought like, I understand how people in the jail go crazy. They just sit there.
Right.
Confined space. All I could do was look up. I was about to go crazy. I was praying. I said, God, please, I can't do this any longer. I can't. So sorry, y'all. My stories are highly detailed.
Giving us all the details. I love it.
I'm giving y'all the deets. Okay. We finished the MRI. So we go to the gym. So I get the opportunity to tour the gym, which is really cool because Beşiktaş is one of the biggest clubs in Turkey. And they have, as you know, they have the football team, which is one of the biggest in the world. So they have like 20 million fans, is what they told me, from all the different clubs with football, volleyball, basketball. So it was a really big gym. They have a men's team too. So it was super cool for me to tour the facility because my gym in Hungary was like super small. So that was really cool to experience. And so after that, I had an opportunity to go to lunch. And then after that, I did some testing for my knees. They put me in like this contraption, like a roller coaster. That's what it felt like. They put you in a roller coaster and they strap you up. Mm-hmm. And I had to like continuously like kick my knees and had some resistance thing. It was crazy. And that was to like test like my strength and my muscle quality. So did that. That's the boring stuff. Okay. Get to the good stuff. All right. So before we have this team meeting, he's like, the coach wants to talk to you. I'm like, all right, cool. So the coach comes in. He looks like the Turkish Godfather. He has his hair slicked back. He's like this suave man. He has this white, he honestly dressed like my dad. He had this white, long white shirt, like how all tall, like, you know how Snoop Dogg dresses?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, they wear that long shirt with the jeans and the nice shoes. That's what he dressed like.
Okay.
Yes. And so he was very suave, but he doesn't speak any English. So when he was talking to me, yes, I had a translator the whole time. And he was saying that he wished I was here earlier because the team is struggling, but he's excited for me to be here. And he looks forward for me to be able to work with him, and that he enjoyed my Michael Jackson dance videos. So
that's so dope.
So that was super cool. Because I didn't know people like actually look at that, because they're like, yeah, like I know you're a good basketball player, but we also enjoy your personality off the court, and you think you'll be a really good mix for this team. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like that my dancing has like in some way helped my career. Like people get
International
to really see
dancer,
really
you on stage with Carrie Underwood. Now you can add international dancer to your resume.
I'm saying I be getting down. People love how I get down. So I was like, oh, you watch my videos? That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So after that, I had the opportunity to meet the team, and I didn't know many people on the team, but I don't know Megan Simmons, but you know, I just know her from the basketball world.
Right.
And Megan Simmons, like we used to like watch Megan Simmons in high school and in junior high, like, oh my gosh, this girl is so dope. We used to watch her mixtapes and her playing at Tennessee. So I kind of fangirled like when she came up to me and she was like, hey, what's up? How you doing, Eric? I'm like, it's Megan Simmons. We used to watch you play in high school. So that was super cool for me. I kind of fangirl, try to act cool, but I'm like, yeah, what's up? What's up? But deep down, I was like, this girl's so cool. So after that, we watched film and translated for everything. The coach didn't speak any English, so that was new for me. And then I had an opportunity to just wait around, talk to some of the girls, and then go in for the pregame talk. Now, this was very different for me because it was really hard to be able to understand the plays, what they wanted to do, because as the coach was talking, the assistant coach was saying what he was saying in English. So it was like overlapping. And it was like very difficult. And, you know, usually when you translate, the person will say something and then they'll pause and then they'll translate afterwards. But it was like this, it was the same thing, the same time. I was like, how does everyone understand? So I was like, this is going to be a struggle for me because everyone in Hungary spoke English. All my coaches spoke English. All my teammates spoke English. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be very different, a different experience. But hey, the girls made it work. They seem like they got used to it. I'm sure I'll get used to it. But for that, I was a bit overwhelmed to say the least.
I mean, you said the players didn't speak English. So how are you guys able to navigate in real game situations? How are you?
I believe that most of the girls speak English.
Okay.
And usually, like, if they don't speak English, they know basketball terminology.
Gotcha.
You know, pass, shoot, layups, you know, usually they know that. So sometimes though, it's tough. Like I had teammates in Hungary, like the young girls that didn't speak much English, and it was just like, shoot, pass, you know, rebound. You just gotta say things to them that you guys both understand. So after that, I got to have the opportunity to watch the game, and we played against the best team in Turkey. And my team, they haven't won a game yet. You know, my team's struggling right now. So, and we were playing against the best team in Turkey, which is Fenerbahce.
Yes.
And for those who do not know what Fenerbahce is, they're freaking like, you know, my Lord, they're like the super team, you know. It's crazy.
Probably a little bit better than the Lakers this season. Could we?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're like the Lakers put together, but better.
Right.
And I could say that because the Lakers is my team. But okay. So let me explain. Okay, for all the women's basketball fans out there, let me break down who Fener has. They have Kayla McBride. Okay, you know, one of the best shooters in the league. They've got Amanda Zaliby, shooter, rebounder, pretty much can do it all. They've got Kia Stokes, one of the best shot blockers in the league. They've got Jasmine Thomas, one of the best point guards in the league. And then they've got Elizabeth Williams. Elizabeth didn't even play. She didn't even come to the game. I think, you know, they're just saving her And they got Liv. And then y'all, they've got the best player in Europe, Alina Agapova. She's the best player in Europe. Like a lot of people want her to go play in the league, but she's pretty much said she's good where she's at. But they have the best player in Europe, and then all those WNBA players, and then great Turkish players as well. So as you can imagine, it was a struggle for my team. It was a struggle. It wasn't close, but we fought. I saw, keys of things we can improve on. I saw where I could fit in. I saw that we struggle with rebounding. So I saw that I'm like, okay, I can help a lot with rebounding. So it was really good for me to be able to see, what the team plays like, what the dynamic was like for me, where I can fit in best with the team. And so I definitely saw a lot of opportunities for improvement, a lot of opportunities for me to be able to come in and help my team. And I'm not saying I'm going to be this savior or anything, but I just saw opportunities for me to be able to come in and help. And that's all obviously what I want to do for this team. I want us to be able to be successful, more successful than what we've been in this beginning of the season. And so, yeah, that was really cool for me to see. So after the game, I was like, everyone, nice meeting you. I'm tired.
Peace out. I'm going home. So what was it like seeing some of the players that you play with in the WNBA play against you? Do you guys hang out while you're out in Turkey? How far are they? Like, how are you guys able to stay in contact?
Yeah, so Javante Zealous, who was my teammate for Washington, she actually just hit me up the night, like flying out to, she lives in Mersin, which is like a 2-hour flight away. So it's like at the bottom of the country, and Istanbul's at the top. My sister's gonna play there. So she hit me, she's like, hey, I'm coming to Istanbul, come out with me. And so a lot of people actually come to Istanbul, which is like the meeting place because it's a big, the big city, big party city. So a lot of people come out here. Yeah, a lot of people come out here to party, to eat, to have fun. So I think it's gonna be super fun because I'll be able to like really get to hang out with a lot of my WNBA friends, as opposed to when I was in Hungary. I lived in a very small town and no one did anything there. So
just hoop and go home. That's it.
That's literally all you do.
Dang.
All you do. Hoop and go home. And I cooked every single night.
You get to go out, get to explore the city a little bit and hoop. So that's dope to be able to explore a new city with some of your colleagues in the WNBA and then some of your new teammates as well. What was the most challenging things in the first 24 hours of being overseas in Istanbul?
For me, the language, I'll say this, for me, it was really hard for me to not compare things to Hungary.
Okay.
I loved Hungary. I didn't have any issues with Hungary. And so it was like really hard for me. It's like, when you have a breakup, you try not to bring your ex, try not to talk about your ex.
Oh yeah.
On the first date. That's what it felt like. I felt like I was on the first date and I really wanted to bring up my ex every time, like, yeah, and Hungary we did this and Hungary did that. And so it was really hard for me to not do that. I can say that I miss Hungary. Like when I was here, I'm like, man, I miss it. I miss the people. I miss the food. I miss everything, my teammates. And so that was very difficult for me to be able to like wrap my head around that I'm here in something different. And after playing in a place for 4 years that I considered home, it was a tough challenge for me to be able to like wrap my mind around that I'm here in a new experience.
What was your favorite moment about your first 24 hours in Turkey?
My favorite moment, the tea.
Okay.
I tried
it on Instagram, like the tea is amazing.
Yeah, the tea is like crack here. So I usually put milk in my tea. And so they're like, you want some tea? I'm like, yeah, sure. Then I'm like, you guys put milk in? They're like, no, we're not the British. So I was like, okay. They're like, yeah, just put 1 pack of sugar in it, you'll be good. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bitters, I don't know what. I tasted this tea and I fell in love with it. I think I had 4 cups of tea my first 24 hours. So it's probably why I didn't sleep at all, because I was jacked up on that Turkish tea, man. That stuff is good.
Now, speaking of beverages and delicacies and stuff out in Turkey, what's your favorite thing to eat so far? Have you been able to explore, go to some restaurants, cook even? Or try some of the.
I haven't been able to do too much. They have a restaurant here at the hotel, but it's pretty Americanized. I wouldn't say Americanized, but it's pretty basic, like typical food that you can find at a nice restaurant anywhere in the world.
Gotcha.
So I haven't tried much of Turkish delicacies, but I do love baklava. And I already betted someone if I win a shooting challenge that they'll buy me some baklava. So I'm really excited about that.
All right.
Yes.
So you guys have shooting challenges at practice, or?
Yes, they're saying that there's some challenge with the coach, and if you beat him, he'll buy you a baklava. Yeah.
That's
So
dope.
yeah, shooting challenge with the coach. So I don't know how good he is. He's tall, so it looks like he's the ball. So it might be difficult beating him.
You go.
No, you're right. You're right. I got it. I got it. I'm excited.
That's so dope. Just to wrap this up, what advice would you give to, those who may be in college right now, who may not want to go pro to WNBA, but want to experience, a career overseas? What advice do you have for them?
Man, my biggest advice is embrace the opportunity, embrace where you are at. As in the country that you are doing, embrace the language, try to learn the language as much as you can, try to enjoy the food, try to enjoy your teammates. Because if you don't, man, overseas is going to be a complete struggle. If you just go ball, go to practice and go back to your room and stay on Netflix all day, like overseas is going to suck. It's going to feel like a drag. It's going to feel like you're there for a year. So really embrace the country that you're in, embrace everything about the opportunity, embrace, this really cool thing you get to do as a basketball player, getting to travel the world. Most people in the whole wide world would dream of your job. And so embrace it, recognize how blessed you are, and go ball out and have fun.
So your advice is just embrace where you are and have fun. Simple.
Have fun. Have fun overseas. Overseas is really fun if you allow it to be. So have fun.
All right, Erica, anything else you want to say about playing overseas and the off season?
Well, usually, Khristina, we do the story of the day, and that's where we talk about the craziest story that you've experienced overseas. And so I'll talk about the craziest story that I experienced in my 24 hours, or I guess a little bit before that. So I'm actually on the plane traveling to Turkey. It's a 13-hour flight. And this man, leaned back his chair, you can lean back a chair. And the sailor's like, no, not over here, sir. Put it back up. And he was like, I'll pay for this seat. And so, I'm nosy. So I see the lady talk to one of the flight attendants, like, this man, he was pretty much being rude to me. I want to move, and so he moves this lady over to another row, like a few aisles back, with this other lady. And I think they already had like one seat in between them. So it was like, there was no other seats. Now it's just like 3 people and 3 seats. And the lady was like pissed. She was like, no, like if this was already established seat, she can't come over here. So the ladies like started fighting. The lady threw her stuff, was like, this, she said, is this your plane? Does it have the name, your name on it? I can sit here if I want. The ladies are going back and forth, saying like, this is my spot. People, they thrown stuff at people, they arguing back and forth for like a cool 30 minutes. And I was like, I really thought there was about to be a brawl. Like, I was like, oh, please.
The soul plane.
I don't want to have this. I was on the soul plane in Turkey. I'm like, please, y'all, I don't want to have to do some emergency landing. Like, come on, just get it together. And so eventually they found a way to coexist for the rest of 13 hours. I think the man ended up moving. He was like, I'll find another seat. And he moved. And so they like sat like in the aisle in the window seat. And so they figured it out. Like, could you imagine having to sit next to someone like you just got into it for 13 hours?
Insane.
You just have to deal with it and say, excuse me, I need to go to the restroom. Yeah, so that was my craziest experience. I mean, it wasn't super wild, but I'm like, y'all, come on, get it together, man. We just sit down, just enjoy the flight, go to sleep.
So well, I have not played overseas. My craziest situation was when I went to Brazil. I ended up going by myself because my friends already lived out in Sao Paulo. And when I landed, my luggage was stuck in Miami for like 4 days. So I had to literally buy all new clothes and wait for American Airlines to send my stuff over to Brazil. Because what happened was, it's easier to get to Brazil from Miami. And so we had a layover, and then it ended up being some sort of like rainstorm. So they had shut down the Miami airport for a couple of hours. And then when they opened back up, there was all this mess. And then when we got to Brazil, half the plane's luggage was in Miami. And so everyone's like, okay, right, what are we gonna do? And it was late.
So what did you buy? Did you buy like
I
cheap
ended up
clothes? You was going to
American
eat
dollar
from
is
the Walmart?
so the
The
American
American
dollar
dollar.
is about, it was about 3 to 4 times worth of Brazilian Rio. And so what I did was like, the apartment that I was staying in was on a main street in Sao Paulo called Avenue Paulista. So they had all the shopping centers. I just went to the mall and like went to a Forever 21 and H&M and like bought a couple outfits that would last me, but also trying to get in contact and keep track of my bags.
Yeah.
And so when I called from Brazil, I'm getting like all of the Portuguese kind of like customer service. And, you know, I studied Portuguese in college, but like we're very rusty with it, very rusty. I can write it better than I can speak it.
I see you,
So
right?
I'm
You
like,
tweeted in Portuguese. Okay.
yeah. So that's another situation. I'm gonna try to, you know, ease back into it. But so I ended up getting finally English representative, tracking down my things. But when my bag got to me in Brazil, the airlines had put their own lock on my suitcase and I could not open it. They forgot to take it off. And I couldn't open the suitcase at all. So I had to like rip open my suitcase with a scissor to get access to my things, and ended up having to buy a whole new suitcase as well to go back home when it was time to go back home, because yeah. So that was my crazy.
American Airlines mess up your money. You had to spend money over here.
My trip, the
clothes.
first days, I didn't have my outfits that I had planned. It was a mess.
American, them airlines be tripping. That is my credit card airline, so I'm gonna shout them out. But yeah, they be tripping sometimes.
Yeah, they be tripping. But for what
I'm sorry you had to experience
a travel voucher when I got back stateside, and
they took care as they should.
Everybody, so it was cool. It was cool.
Now you one of those people that go off, or like you can go off on people, or you be like pretty polite. Because me, like I cannot, like it's just not in my heart. I don't have it. I literally gave the phone to my mom and let her handle like, my daughter Erica McCall is of the WNBA and she needs her bags now. She has all her belongings in there, her basketball shoes. She needs to work out while she's in Brazil. She needs to stay in shape so she has the next WNBA season. She always brings me. I'm not
gonna lie. The first day, I was like, when we got off the plane and everyone was lining up because no one had their luggage, I was cool with it. I'm like, okay, I'll just take a taxi to my apartment and it's cool. They said it should be there in 24 hours. 24 hours turned into 4 days. But then when my luggage was, it was like when my luggage had the lock on it, I couldn't get into it. I called them back and I was pissed. I like let them have it. I'm like, I waited 4 days. Whoever delivered this to me, they forgot to clip the lock that you all put on my suitcase. Because what happened was I was out with one of my friends who like lived like 5 minutes down, and they ended up dropping my suitcase in the management office to the apartment building I was staying in. And so, because I guess they just left it on until I got there. But, you know, the person left who delivered the suitcase, and I was just pissed off. I'm like, to top it all off, I can't get into my things and have to buy another suitcase. I had to buy clothes, the whole situation. And so, yeah, they were kind to me. They gave me a couple vouchers to get a few round trips. So I was good on that. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I'm gonna get back stateside. Let me just.
If it was me, they'd be like, sorry, ma'am. So I got to hand the phone over to my mom. I will personally call my mom and give her the agent I was dealing with.
Listen, for me, it takes a lot for me to get to that point where I'm just like, all right, now I'm going to go off. Now you're not going to get the nice Khristina. She's going to go off.
I actually hope that I get a little me in me, because I need it. Because what are my kids going to do if my kids are nice and they're like, Mom, and I'm like, Dad, you better call your grandma. Oh my God. Better call your grandma. Well,
a little bit of aggressiveness, a little bit.
Absolutely. That's what we need. A balance. A balance. Well, Khristina, it's been super dope. Thank you for doing my interview. This was beautiful. I thought this would be a super cool idea, so I'm glad it all went well, executed well. We are professionals, of course. So it's all good. Wait, hold on, y'all. I didn't really get to do an introduction to Khristina because, you know, it's the episode's about me, but for those watching on YouTube, but for those who are not, she just has a small flex in her her office when she's doing the podcast, and she has this 30-foot this Forbes 30 under 30 plaque, just sitting just right upon her shoulder, just sitting there with her picture, and she's looking all poised. Oh, this girl's a 30 Forbes 30 under Forbes, y'all. Forbes, that's lavish. That's big time. So with that being said, I have a big timer doing my podcast, and I appreciate you.
I'm trying to get like you. I'm trying to get like you. You're killing it.
No, man, that's where I'm trying to be, when ball's all said and done. Even while I'm doing ball, is to be able to get as established as that. And so kudos to you. I love what you're doing for this game.
Shout out to your teammate, Natasha Cloud. She made the Forbes under 30 as well. The homie Tosh.
That's my dog.
Tosh.
Yeah, that's my dog. Tosh is amazing. The work that she does in the community is groundbreaking. And so I appreciate both of y'all for what you do for the game, and both of y'all what you do for the community. Bird's Eye View fans, it's been a beautiful journey, 8 episodes in deep. Season 2 will be coming soon. I'll be giving more details, but first I want to give a shout out to everyone that's helped me throughout this journey, to the people that helped me to start from the ground up. And so shout out to my producers, Ben and Mike, of the DC crossover. If you guys ever hear that, the DC crossover little commercial we got in the middle of the podcast, that's them. They've done marketing team. Jana, both Sam's, English is my girl. She's done all my marketing, all my social media posts for me. And so you guys have been amazing. And thank you. Khristina, before we head out, tell everyone where we can find you, where we can find all your content.
No doubt. So my name is Khristina Williams. I'm the founder of Girls Talk Sports TV. Make sure you follow GirlsTalkSports.TV on Instagram for all of the latest WNBA news and updates. I also am on Spotify Green Room every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Women's Sports Wednesday. And that's a weekly live audio show that I do where I go over the trending topics in women's sports. And then follow me on Twitter at Khristina2334 for the latest breaking news in the WNBA. I'm trying to get my Woj on. We'll be having
got the Khristina bombs, man.
I think someone, a WNBA fan, called it Khristina called it. Because usually when
I was trying to remember what that hashtag was. Yes.
When I drop the news, I'm always right. Let me just knock on wood. I'm feeling myself a little bit, but I always come with the heat. And we are in the off season of the WNBA free agency, about to go crazy. So you want to tune into that and keep up with all things WNBA by following any one of those platforms.
Yes. Thank you, Khristina. And for y'all who want to continue to get updates on the show, to go back and listen to past episodes, you can find us on Spotify, on Apple, YouTube. You can follow us at birdseyeView.podcast on Instagram. And you can follow me on Instagram at birdsword_24 and on Twitter at EricaMcCall24. Thank y'all. Thank you, fans. It's been a blessing. Everyone everyone subscribe to the show. Everyone rate the show 5 stars because I'm a 5-star chick. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. It's been a blessing. Deuces.
Peace.